Awesome. Awesome. Well, welcome back to the UAE Careers Community Annual Fair, everyone. For those of you who have just joined us, the UAE Careers Community is a community of individuals created to empower the youth with careers education in the UAE. My name is Shweta. I am joined by Maria. We're both from Curtin University, Dubai, and we are co-hosting this Zoom room today. The virtual fair that we host annually is one of the many ways in which we try to create opportunities for the youth and make things happen. And if anyone over here is interested to learn more, please do visit our website or feel free to contact us. I'd like to take a minute to introduce our next speaker. Her name is Wardah Sandila. I have known her for a while. She is absolutely amazing. As a quick introduction, Wardah is a career development specialist with 10 years of experience in higher education institutions, working with students to guide them through the transition from learner to leader. And Wardah is going to be talking through the side hustle for this session. And I'm really excited. Welcome, Wardah, over to you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Wardah. Thank you, Shweta, for the lovely introduction. So I know we're, running right through it today. I hope everyone's having a productive day, learning a lot. And I think we'll go right into it. Now, a bit of housekeeping. So if you have any questions, please do pop them in the box, or if that's not allowed at the moment, just write them down and you can address them to me at the end. Hopefully that will cut down a bit on interruptions and we'll be able to get through it. And hopefully I'll have answered your question in the rest of the presentation anyway. So let's get right to it. I'm gonna share my screen and there we go. Right, so side hustles, going right through it, what are they? How do I get one? A side hustle is basically a way to make money outside of your regular job. And it can allow you to make money that, you can then use to pay off debt or buy things that you basically want. It's kind of like a discretionary spending fund. And I don't know if most of you know, but when you're just starting out, most jobs don't really pay well enough for you to live the sort of life that you kind of want. So why not start a side hustle just to keep like a couple extra 100 or 1,000 coming in every month? And it's something that you can use not just to add to your current spending, but you can also use it for saving, and you can use it my favorite way, which is to invest. So let's just dive into some of the best side jobs that help you make more money while working from home. So before we get into that, let's just take a quick minute or two to talk about budgeting and how to start saving as a student. Now, I like to follow something called the 50-30-20 rule. It's when you use 50% of whatever you make for necessities. Now, obviously, before you start to do this, it's important to just sit and reflect, make a list. I know before we used to have all these apps that help you keep track of all your expenses and income. Before all that, when I was in college, about 15 years ago, we used to do Excel sheets to keep track of what we were spending and what we were earning. But now it's a lot easier. So just take a minute to reflect on what your necessities are, what you need to be paying every single month for you to just continue living like a human. And that includes your month, your rent, your bills, transport, groceries, and loan repayments if you have any sort of loans for college. And then 30% is your leisure spending, like, any sort of groceries other than necessities. Like if you want to get that fancy cheese, or if you want to dine out, any sort of shopping, holidays, gym memberships, Netflix. I know it doesn't seem like it, but Netflix does count as leisure spending. I know it seems like a necessity to most of us these days. And then of course, 20% is your saving. Now I've listed a couple of apps here that you can use. Mint is my favorite, but I know that a lot of banks also offer savings accounts in their mobile apps, where you can just automatically save each month. Like whatever you have coming in, automatically that amount goes into a separate saving, or like a goal account or something like that. So the best app overall is You Need a Budget. And like I said, my favorite is Mint. Now I'd like to talk a little bit about active and passive income. So active income is basically money that you earn by working. It's anything you get, like salaries, commissions, tips, anything you earn from freelance projects. Now let's talk a little bit about some non-sketchy ways to make this sort of active income inside money. Now, due to the pandemic, a lot of people have been working from home, which means that virtual babysitting is a thing. People who are working from home, who need someone to watch their kids, hire virtual babysitters who can keep their kids engaged for a couple hours a day. Now, if you have certain skills, like if you can teach the kids something at the same time, then you can charge a higher rate. But I know that this is very popular these days. Actual babysitting is more popular too. I know a couple people who, after being laid off during the pandemic, are working as babysitters or live-in nannies. Then there's obviously virtual assistants, and you can learn more about this on the Virtual Hub or Upwork. This usually involves stuff like, managing someone's calendar, or, helping someone sort through emails, helping with their social media accounts. So this kind of work also pays well. And then, of course, there's tutoring. I personally do know a lot of people who are able to make good enough, not just side money, but actual money, tutoring online. My neighbor, she does tutoring classes at her house, and she told me that during the lockdowns, during the pandemic, her income tripled because she was able to take on more students because everything was virtual. Another way to make some good money is transcription services. This is when you sort of listen to an audio and type out everything that's in it. A lot of medical industry professionals need this sort of help, and some websites listed here where you can go and check it out. Transcribe Me is a good one. And then of course there's remote data entry, online freelance opportunities, which you can find on Fiverr, Freelancer, Upwork, Ureed, TaskRabbit, and these can involve anything from writing reviews or descriptions on websites. And then again, there's writing blogs, branded content marketing, and affiliate marketing. I do a little bit of affiliate marketing myself, actually. A lot of companies have affiliate programs where, if you promote their website or certain services or products, they give you either cash back or cash in your account, which you can again use to spend in their store. So that's something that's cool as well. Some more ways, dog walking. This is something I've also done. So I would walk the dogs around the neighborhood, and it can pay anywhere between 800 to 1,500 dirhams a month. one dog. That's how much dog owners are willing to pay someone to walk their dog a couple times during the day. And if you have a neighborhood with a lot of dogs, you're set. Tour guide, I know someone who does this as well. Set up little tours on Airbnb, and when people come by, you just take them around. And have like little tiny tours set up, take them to the spots, help them take pictures. It's quite nice, actually. And then of course, sell stuff that you're not using, that you don't really need. In 2020, when the lockdown started, I don't know how many of you went through it, but I definitely went through a Marie Kondo phase where I cleaned everything. And at the end of it, I had a whole bunch of stuff that I realized I hadn't used in years, so I sold most of it. Bags that had been gifted to me, shoes, clothes. Of course, I donated a lot of stuff as well. One of the most weird things I sold was a broken iPad. I mean, someone paid me 200 dirhams for it. I don't know what they're going to do with it, but that's their problem, right? And then, of course, you can monetize your online social media, making videos. Website testing is very popular these days. Part-time delivery agents, part-time Uber drivers. I know a lot of people who do that. And then, of course, you can, if you have a lot of stuff to sell, like if you have a sort of craft, if you make something that you would like to sell, you could get a table in a flea market. Dubai flea market tables go for as less as 300 dirhams, so you could definitely make some money. And you could work promotions jobs. I know I don't know if that's still popular, but I used to do a lot of that when I was in college. And meal prepping for your neighbors. I know someone that I used to work with, and she used to prep homemade meals for all the assistants on the floor. And she was making a clean 10,000 dirhams a month for that, all in. Now let's talk a little bit about passive income. So we were talking about active income, which is when you get paid to do work that you have to do on an ongoing basis. Passive income is the opposite of that. It's money that you earn, or an investment, or work that you have completed in the past. And acquiring this sort of income no longer requires active work, or requires maybe a little bit of work. Like if you already made something and you have a drop shipping business and you need to mail that thing, or you have an Amazon store, you already have the items listed, everything's in there, and all you need to do is just ship the item. Or maybe you hire someone to do that for you, so then there's absolutely no work involved. Now, passive income, if you've written like some sort of articles that are monetized that you're getting paid for, ebooks. I know this is like a bit strange, like who writes an ebook? But I do know people who write guides who are that are downloaded from the internet. I know it doesn't count as a book, but you get paid every time it's downloaded. I know someone who makes templates online, and she put a link to her store, and you can go and download these cool templates for calendars, for budgets, for all these sorts of things. There's like different ones. A lot of people download them for their kids to play around. I know someone who is an artist who's made a bunch of pictures and uploaded them on her online shop, and parents go and download that, and kids can basically print it out and use it to color on. I mean, it's not very expensive, but you get paid per download, so it adds up. Any sort of e-courses that you've done that are sort of being sold on the internet that you get paid for every time somebody watches them, having a monetized YouTube channel, or renting out your space on Airbnb. I know a lot of people who do this as well. If they live in a house, or if they have a spare bedroom. This works better in densely populated areas. Like if you live in an area in Dubai where it's hard to get an Airbnb, and you can go on Airbnb and check where it's hard to get space, and if you live in that area, then you could make a good amount of money doing that. Like you could rent out just a room or the entire space if you have someplace else to go. I know this friend of mine, she has to go stay with her parents every time she rents her space out. And then one time her mom said absolutely not. So she had to get an Airbnb herself, which was kind of strange. You can rent out your car when you aren't using it. I actually sold my car during the pandemic because no one was going anywhere. So what's even the point? And then we come down to my favorite way of making a passive income, which is through investments. Now, before we get into it, a bit of advice: you should always make a list of what you're interested in, so you know what to do. And decide early if you want to invest money. Make sure there's no conflicts of interest. Some jobs where you're working, they don't allow you to work freelance in the same industry or for competitors. So you should definitely always check that. And you should always make time for your side hustle. It's not something, yeah, when I have time, I'll do it. You have to carve out time. You have to be a bit strict about it. And obviously never forget about your day job. And before you invest, do your research. So, investing. Now, here's just like a couple types of primary investments that people can go into. Stocks, I'm sure everybody knows what this is. There's bonds. Now, bond is basically you lending someone money and them saying, yeah, I'll give this back to you at a later date with a little bit extra as a thank you for giving me this money. And it's basically low risk because it's mostly government entities that put out bonds. It's not like lending 5 dirhams to your friend and you just know you're never going to see that money again. Then there's mutual funds. If you want to invest in a mutual fund, you usually have to go through someone who manages them. But I know there's websites where you can invest in ETFs, which are exchange traded funds, which are similar to mutual funds, but they're bundled together, so it makes it easier to trade. And then, of course, there's certificates of deposit, which is like a fixed deposit where you put money in a bank. Let's say you put in 1,000 dirhams today, and then 5 years later, you get like, I don't know, 1250. That's a little bit more than they would give you back in 5 years. Maybe in 10 years, you'd get 1250 based on an interest. So it's low yield, but it's also low risk. And then there's cryptocurrency. Now, a lot of people invest in crypto. I do too. And it's sort of fun. It's like, virtual and digital, but it's only fun when it's going in the right direction. Like when it takes a downturn, you're just like start having agitation and, palpitations. So what is crypto? It's digital money that's sort of like tokens, or, as everybody calls them, coins. And the reason why it's so popular these days is because it's decentralized, meaning it's not connected to any single government of the world or any single big organization or any single big company. And cryptocurrencies are typically developed as code by teams. And there's a process called mining to mine more of them. It says uses, but I think I meant to say. So here's just a couple of popular ones. I know I have a couple Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Bitcoin Cash. Binance Coin is a new one that's very popular. And now we come into the new in thing, which is NFTs, or non-fungible tokens. Now, NFTs aren't actually cryptocurrencies, but they do utilize blockchain. And some websites that you can use to trade cryptocurrencies can also be used to trade NFTs. It's sort of to guarantee ownership of an asset. Now we'll get a little bit into it in a second. But you should think of it as a certificate that says this item legally belongs to this person, like this NFT legally belongs to this person digitally. And then most NFTs are based on the Ethereum blockchain network. Now, NFTs are most popular for digital art collections. Artists use NFTs to sell their collections to creators and other digital creators. An owner or creator of an NFT can collect royalties for the art's copy or use online. And they're very promising to enforce digital copyright law. Like, you couldn't just be posting it or saying that, oh, I own it, unless you actually did. Now, besides representing a way for digital artists and other creators to monetize their work, NFTs are imagined as an evolution of art investing. Now, if you think about people who bought, let's say, a Rembrandt painting, I don't even know, 20 years ago, or something that was handed down to them over generations ago, and it was worth one thing then, but it's worth much, much more now. So that's sort of what investing in art looked like back then. But now, the way things are going, NFTs are making it easier for smaller artists to get their works out into the open and have a wider market of people who can buy their work. I mean, if you think about museums that hang in paintings or in private collections, there were only a handful of people who can view them. There's only a handful of people, even fewer still, who could afford to purchase them back in the day or even now. So for an average investor, this is where NFTs differ from crypto. You couldn't just buy a couple, leave them in your, let's say, crypto wallet, and then think, oh, it's going to grow in value. You only get a return from an NFT when you sell it. And like any asset, selling it will depend on whether people want to buy it. They don't gain in value, just like any sort of media that they represent. And then again, putting a value on it is extremely difficult, like the age-old question, how do you value arts? How do you say a painting is worth, £10 or $1 million? Like, what is the value of it? Now, here's some good investment apps that I like. And Betterment is a good one. There's also Stockpile, which is good if you want to just like play with stocks and, give them around each other. You can have a group on there and buy stocks and just talk about which ones you like. There's also Charles Schwab, which is good for beginners. In the UAE specifically, these are some of the more popular ones. eToro, which I've used in the past, which is nice. It's easy to use, easy to understand, and they have this weird marketing campaign where you can have the same investment portfolio as your favorite celebrity or something like that. Something to look into. It's cute. There's XTB, there's Swissquote, there's Forex, which is for foreign exchange currencies. There's Stormgain, and then there is Binance, which is for crypto mostly. So now we come to the end of the presentation. Does anyone have any questions that they would like to address?
Wardah, wow, thank you so much for that.
Oh, thank you, Shweta.
So I'm just looking through the chat box now. We do have some classes as well that have streamed in today. I don't see any questions coming through at the moment, but I'm sure that we will see some stuff come through later. And if that does happen, then would we be able to send this to you directly?
Okay.
All right, great. Well, Wardah, thank you so much for that. That was really interesting. I know that I was taking notes on the side for this side hustle. Where were you when I was 18? But gosh, thank you. Thank you so much for this. Thanks for taking time out of your day. I know that you're doing 2 more sessions with us. Everyone, I wholeheartedly encourage you to attend those if you have, if you are available. You would be able to access Wardah's other sessions through the UAE Careers Community website. And once again, thank you so much, Wardah.
Oh, you're most welcome. So the other 2 sessions, I think there's one coming up at 3.